Hey, it's Pete. Surprise, huh? Every day. I've been doing videos every day, just to keep in the habit. If I don't do them every day, I never do them at all, so they're mostly for me. Um, okay, this, to cut to the chase, was just a great read for me to find. Earlier this month, I did a rant on Strange New Worlds, which I initially liked, but which has been terrible. So I wanted to sneak in here right at the end of BookTrek 2025. I managed to do one. Found this on my computer. On my phone. On my Kindle, which I bought a couple years ago, I think, for probably bought it last year for the event and didn't get around to it. It is Star Trek Sanctuary, Star Trek number 61, the original series, the new novel by John Vornholt. He would go on to write 21 more Star Trek novels and some Babylon 5 novels and a bunch of other stuff, but this was his first novel and his first Star Trek novel, and it is a lot of fun. It is exactly what I needed, the antidote to New Trek. It's the original series characters within the first 5 year mission, so within the same time frame as the series from the 1960s. Best of all, the lead characters are, get this, Kirk, Spock, McCoy. Kirk, Spock, McCoy beam down onto a planet. They have to get off. The other characters have their parts to play, but it's really, it, except for some censorship things, it would have really passed as it would have fit really nicely in with the original series. You could tell that John, the author, was a big fan of the original series. He wrote a lot of next gen novels and stuff later too. I would definitely read more books by him. The Enterprise is pursuing some pirates. They have to go into a part of uncharted space. They come across a planet colloquially known as Sanctuary. The pirates escape onto the planet. There's no way off. There are Andorians, Tellarites, Orions in this novel. You know, all the classic species from the original series that would later be brought back in on Enterprise, on Star Trek Enterprise. And so Kirk, Spock, and McCoy get in a shuttlecraft, go down to pursue the pirates onto the planet. They get a lot of information from a Klingon ship that is there too, that tells them that nothing can get off the planet. Once they get down there, they find they're trapped by a species called the Senites, which is, even the name the Senites is a perfect alien species name from the 1960s. Remember, this is written in 1991, so right at the end of Gene Roddenberry's life, and according to the foreword, Gene Roddenberry signed off on this plot, but who knows. So, Next Gen's on the air, or about to be on the air. Don't remember when it started. But this is classic Trek in the classic Trek tradition. They go down to the planet, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. No reason to explain why the entire, the chief medical officer and the captain and the first officer would all go down into an unknown planet by themselves to recover some pirates, but that's how they did it in those days. There was no Riker to go down and handle shit for the captain, so the captain went down himself, took his first officer. They become imprisoned by the Senites, who are an androgynous race, who initially explained that they're medically altered, surgically altered at birth to do this job of keeping this sanctuary. There's quite a number of them. What they do is they take criminals who escape down there, they prevent them from ever leaving the planet, and they offer them a paradise. They give them high quality food. They have towns where they can indulge their vices, like, there's this town that they go to where there's gambling halls and there's bars and there's drug dens, and there's even a house of prostitution, and but not with humans in it. And they divide and they call the people who land there the persecuted, and it sounds like kind of a quasi-religious organization, religious system that the Sinites have, where they see it as their mission to take in the persecuted, and they don't really care what the people have done before. They have technology that neutralizes all energy weapons and all that. There's some plot holes. There's some questions being raised. Obviously, there's more to the story. I won't go into the whole story, but obviously there's more to the culture than what they're told is going on. But people like Kirk and his men are considered persecutors. They're the terrible people that are trying to enforce laws someplace in the galaxy and going after these poor persecuted criminals who are offered sanctuary here. They can never leave. No one can ever leave. They have powerful force fields and whatnot that keep anything from lifting off the planet. In a strange kind of way, it reminds me of the end of The Getaway. In a bit, Jim Thompson's The Getaway. How there's this in The Getaway. There's this country that takes in criminals and seems to be a haven. Anyway, so Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, of course, want to get off the planet very badly. Scotty's in orbit trying to work the other angles, trying to get them out. So a very standard kind of original series standalone episode with problems to solve. It gets a lot more complicated. As they go around the island, there's no women on the island among the persecuted, and they very quickly find out. Kirk quickly finds out that there's an island off the coast where all the women are taken, presumably for their own protection, since it's the majority of the criminals are men, so it wouldn't probably go too well for the minority of criminals that are women, so they're put on a separate island. And they get a boat and they sail to this island. You know, of course they do. There's an island full of criminal women. Of course Kirk's going to find a way to get there. And, you know, that's another classic element of this novel. There's a Kirk love interest in this novel. So it's very good. If you really like old-fashioned Star Trek before the later iterations, this is the one to read. A lot of the times I'll pick up these Star Trek novels and they might be good in a different way, but they'll focus on different characters, or they'll focus on guest stars or some of the minor characters from the show. But it's just great to happily run across one that's Kirk, Spock, McCoy in their prime, on their 5-year mission, working together. It works out to quite an interesting science fiction plot that involves the entire culture that is existing on the planet. So it is very much a space exploration story, as seeking out strange new worlds kind of story in the classic sense, not necessarily in the new show sense. So that's basically what I have to say about it. If you like the old series and you want to try a Star Trek novel, you could do worse than this one. All right, that's it. I don't know if I'll be able to sneak another one in before the end. I'm doing this a couple days ahead, but I've got a big list of stuff to read, and videos coming up will explain what I'm doing in September. That's all for now.